the VRA as showing town hall as collateral for the loan. So we can do a couple things and get to the budget, after we get these little things out of the way. One of the other things that I want to talk about real quick are the contracts for the plaza. We got people after us real tight on those, so we need to talk about if we're gonna do any increases or anything over there. And that's pretty much it. Oh, we were approached today from a resident that would like to sell stuff at their home, little trinkets, and they got a second driveway where people could pull into a second driveway and get out and have a table and stuff like that. And Joe and I were talking about it today, John. We don't really know if there's anything in the ordinance for that.
No, I think it's, the basic thing on a home occupation is it's gotta be basically, undetectable, looking at the property.
They don't want to put the table out there and sell it all the table,
Yeah,
so it's gonna.
I don't think that's gonna qualify.
So it would have to be a special use permit then, right?
A variance,
A variance.
which would be, no reason to grant a variance at all in those circumstances. It's not a hardship not to be able to use your property.
Isn't this kind of similar to what was going on with Black Sox property? Because that was previously a business. Well, that was previously a business.
Yeah,
That's
that
it.
was a business.
It
Yeah,
was,
but
but it was
one-
zoned residential, right?
Right, it was a
Yeah.
non-conforming use from
Yeah.
way back. This is a residence in a residential area.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know where it is.
It's in the Prospect where it runs perpendicular into east-west. The road coming up from here, going over the hill to Grill.
Oh, Hurt Road.
Yeah, Hurt Road,
Is it one of the houses on the corner there?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, we can look at the home occupation ordinance
Yeah, I was
and
wondering.
see what exactly it says, but I'm pretty sure that something like that going on out in your front yard is not going to work.
Yeah. I mean, if they're just, I mean, personally, if they're just selling a couple of things, and people do that already, right? They come to their house and sell things on
Yard
Facebook
sales.
Marketplace and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Which
but
is
you know,
yard sale.
Or yard sales.
Yeah.
Is it like a yard sale?
Now, I think that what she's talking about is they want to set it up and kind of leave it up. You know, not just every Saturday.
They want to set up a
Well,
booth.
that's a business.
Yeah, it's acting like a business,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're wanting to do this building here, and then there's a map on it as well.
That's nice. And it's on a corner?
Yeah,
Because
the principal's house, I mean, yeah, the principal.
I've been reading about, there's localities across the US that have been doing this thing called Corners First zoning amendments. And basically, they will take corner lots on high traffic streets and localities and allow for light commercial to occur in them. And it's like a small convenience store where you can only walk to it, right? And it basically allows for extra sales tax revenue, but it limits the effect of it on existing uses of those zoned areas. So I've heard of people talking about doing things like this, and they're just trying to sell flowers, or I don't know what it says farm and produce,
Farm and produce.
which, I mean, I know they have a sidewalk right across the street from them. It's not a bad spot if you were, if you lived down Prospect and you wanted to buy some produce real quick, you could walk there. That would.
Yeah, the only concern I have is like on East and West Hurt Road, if you want to use that little driveway, to drive, pull in, right there, almost in front of your house.
Yeah.
They want to use that driveway, that's a little dangerous.
I mean, I think we have to talk to you about the safety of that. But if they just parked on Prospect and it was like right there, I don't see why that's a big deal. As long as it's safe, right? I don't know. That's very reasonable for residential type commercial activity, in my opinion.
You can amend the zoning ordinance to allow anything in the residential.
I know you can, yeah.
I don't think that a lot of the residents would probably like that, but they might.
Yeah.
Have a public hearing and
Yeah, they may have some more want to jump on board.
If it's on corners, it's a little bit different, because that's not really like the end of a cul-de-sac, right? Where you're driving past 10 people's houses to just go just to that, right? People are going by on Hurt Road all day long, going through town. So,
I think the parking is, that's a real concern that you have to be sure that,
I agree.
you don't have people pulling over on the side of the,
Don't have that on that road.
Well, yeah, you're gonna go in that ditch.
Yeah.
That's a steep ditch there. I mean, if they have ways to explain it to us, I'd be open to hear more.
All right, I'll tell them come to the next meeting.
I'm concerned about slippery slope.
Yeah.
One, and somebody else wants to do something, will you let them do it, and let them on?
Well, you have to set up some good rules around it, for sure. I like the idea of being able to walk to somewhere to buy peaches or something, you know, if he's got them for sale, that'd be nice. But that's just me.
John, you and I will do with classifying.
That's just like he's got sales tomatoes there, you, and
You and
then
I will do with
right across from,
classifying.
the fire department, in the dollar store. And
Oh.
it's only white property, I guess, but he sells tomatoes. And they
On
start
School
coming
Road?
in.
On School Road?
No, in out to this,
Oh, and out to this, okay. Yeah.
FYI for you guys, Gary, you probably know Will Dillinger. Okay.
Kurt Farmers.
Kurt Parsons. He owns a couple of water treatment plants in North Carolina. He brought a whole big load of water treatment plant tools up here and gave them to us, to the town, for the new water treatment plant.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, Joe said it's probably $30,000–40,000 worth of tools. I mean, if we took them over here and put them in one of the plaza buildings, because we didn't want to put them up at the water treatment plant with the locks on the doors the way they are. We don't want to break in, we don't break next door. But, I mean, I didn't even know what some of the stuff was. I didn't even know they made something that it's, you know, till about this big, and it's gasket material that it will force gasket material into a gasket area that maybe you got a bad gasket, it'll push that into it. I mean, Joe was like a kid at the candy store. He said, "You don't know what this is, do you?" I said, "No." "You don't know what this is, do you?" "No, I don't know what any of it is. It's just big and heavy." But, I mean, we got, you know, wrenches this big up there. I mean, weigh 20 pounds a piece. So we got some equipment to work on the water treatment plant, the plumbing in there for sure.
What was the name again?
Will Dillinger, one of the Kurt Farmers.
Okay.
Is is it 4 or 5 of them?
It's 5 of them.
I thought it was.
And then a couple of wingmen too, so it's probably about 10 in all. And also, when I was in James Hubbard's building up there yesterday, getting James to go out of the way, it was a really nice new air compressor in there. So I called Will today and I said, "Hey dude, whose air compressor is that? James wants it." He said, "That's mine." And I said, "Well, you kind enough to give us the tools. How about the air compressor?" He said, "If you want it, it's yours." I said, "How much?" He said, "Free." He said, "I consider our team to be partners with your team." So he said, anything you can do, anything we can do to help you guys, he said, don't hesitate to call.
that's awesome.
So that's gonna be a really good contact. So we're already talking to him about the Sycamore Creek pump station and the electricity that goes in up there. We're having problems with the box and needs some fuses. So we're gonna talk to him about that, and he said, when you get ready to start using that or testing it, call me back. I'll send my guys up there. They'll clean around all the underwater pumps and the boxes, and we'll get that thing all cleaned up for you and ready to go.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
There's
and
old,
this this is purely a lesson in, this is why you build relationships,
Yeah, that's a fantastic person to have.
yeah.
As old as that is, uh, do you proceed just cleaning and adjusting, or do they need to send an electrician in there and put in?
He's gonna send his electrician in there because that fuse box on the outside, it's old with old style breakers, but he's got a bunch of them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, that's something that's gonna be needing to come up to more modern standards, but, you know,
Let's get him up here to take a look at it.
I don't know how old that thing is, but it's
Well, I
not,
mean, it goes back to.
it's not young.
It goes back to
I'm
the
sure of
60s,
that.
I'm sure. So anyway, now we've got a guy that will come in and clean these things up, get all the sand dug out from in there cleaned out, so we're in good shape. And he said to run down, take a look at the pumps on the river. He said we need to do anything to the pumps, let them know while we're there.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Great news.
So anyway, that's where we're at on that. I guess we get on, unless anybody's got anything else, let's get on with the budget.
We didn't need to pledge or pray, but I don't think it'll keep us from being official.
Well, we can do it if you want to.
No, I'm fine, I just
Okay.
wanted to be sure that it wasn't a requirement.
We didn't used to always do them for work sessions.
This is a work
This is a work
session.
session, we can be a little more informal.
Yeah, it's on there, so.
All right, anybody wants to start on the budget?
Did everyone get a copy of the updated draft? Was able to finally finish up the email this afternoon, and I brought you a paper copy if you didn't see it online. And there's also an extra sheet that's front and back. One of them is the reference data sheet, and on the flip side of it is just a little brief summary there of the objectives, the rationales, the supporting premises behind what's been drafted and being proposed. It's really not anything extraordinary or unusual. It's the types of things that we try to do our best to do anyway. But this year, there are a lot of things that really need, at least in my opinion, cleaning up with the budgeting and with other things, just for clarity, for transparency, efficiency, whatever term you want to use, all of the above. And we've tried to do that. Make sure that you're looking at the draft that says at the top, as far as the main spreadsheet goes, make sure it's the one that has today's date on it. It says for presentation on or about May 19th. If it doesn't say that, then it's the previous rough draft from last week, and there's been several adjustments since then.
What page are you talking about that on?
Page one.
The front page, the main spreadsheet, not the little one page of data.
I got it.
It's,
I don't have that.
yeah, it's-
I don't have that.
No.
I thought I typed it around.
Maybe that's why I was all,
Well, this one is trapped under the,
Yeah. I think I got a couple more over here like this.
oh, well,
There, it's the second.
That's pretty good. Thank you.
you got one,
And so everybody has one.
you got one, didn't you, Jay, didn't you?
Yeah, up at the top, it will say draft version P for presentation on or about May 19th. That's the updated one. That's the one we need to follow tonight. A lot of it is not changed from last week, but there were some things identified that needed some further attention and cleaning up. Also, it doesn't have the gray shaded highlights. All that was took out, and the font in that column went up one to make it, the memo column, make it a little bit easier to see. There were some things that needed some attention. in each department, HR had to go in there after confirming with our treasurer and our county support and fine tune those new items for VRS, VOIA, and VEC unemployment tax. It took a little while to crack the code on that and figure out how to do that. But that has been adjusted. It's not huge.
That's on page 2.
It's 2 or 3 different places. It's at the, let me see. It is on, yes, it's on page 2, the bottom half.
Yeah.
Line item G59 and G62. That's another change that's on this one. I try to think of something to make it easier to go back and forth through these. So I gave all of them line numbers, kind of like an IRS tax form. All of the G's are the general fund and all the E's are the enterprise fund. Hopefully that'll help with some distinction there. And along with that, to show you an example of how that might help some people interpret this, if you look at the top of page 2, if you look at G41, Virginia State Police Heat Grant Program, Jason asked me to clean up the language of that and add in those 2 items below it there so that we would have somewhere to account for other grant funding that may come up during the year for the PD. And it says non-specific right now because we don't have a name for it. All right, if you go down to, we found it, down PD. If you go to page 4 at the top, at G127 to 129, you see those same 3 items right there on the outgoing side, on the expense side. The first ones are the incoming and the second ones are the outgoing. So that way you can connect the dots such that what comes in for grant funding and then where it goes out. And that way it is kept separate from other items. It's clean, it's easy to account for. So hopefully that will be helpful to someone. And then Alice, to further answer your question, one of those lines appears again in PD HR. Okay? The unemployment tax is applicable there too, but the VOIA is not because police have a different type of retirement program. It's not VOIA. So, Elvin said we didn't need to list VOIA in the PD. Then it's listed again in the enterprise fund when I get down to Joe and Paul. Outside of that, there's not, a tremendous amount of difference in the general fund. There's small fine tunings to make things line up after we updated those items just mentioned right there. It is balanced. And there at G177, it shows you in the middle how you get that total, which lines constitute the total, and you get that. So people who are new to this document or who are not sure how to read it, that was put there to help them. Now, the bigger changes are below that in the enterprise fund. We had a fairly lengthy discussion last Thursday about volumetric water and how the current budget was based on 23 million gallons in a year, and the current statistics supposedly indicate something more on the scale of 30 million. So, I sense some degree of consensus to go with the mayor's recommendation of 30.5 million being gallons, that is, not dollars, being the projection. So when you put that into the equation there for E6, that is why you see a sizable increase in that. You're talking about going up 7.5 million gallons, and you're also increasing the volumetric rate per the consent order we have from the current 1861 per thousand to 1940 per thousand. So So that's why you see the increase in the revenue right there from what you're billing. That's what would cause that. So now the good side of that, you do have more billable income right now, assuming that people use 30.5 million gallons of water. That's very good. Just keep in mind that at the bottom of page 7, where you see product subtotal right there, you're going to see that number go up as well, because you've got to purchase it before you sell it. And you can see the formula that's used to compute that.
Where are you? I'm on that page, but whereabouts are you?
Water
purchase at
purchase,
the bottom?
yeah,
Okay.
E83.
Okay.
What you do there is you take the 30.5 million, and since your price is per thousand, you divide by 1,000. And then you're gonna take 5/12 of that number at 6.73, and 7/12 at 740 per thousand. And the reason for that is that Alta Vista's increase kicks in December 1st, after 5 months in the new FY, not 6. Their increase doesn't wait till the midpoint like you might think. It kicks in December, so that's why you have 5 and 7 instead of 6 months at each rate. And that's what that line there shows you. The other thing that is different in both funds, I forgot to mention this here a minute ago, both the general and the enterprise. You know, there was a concern about pulling money out of the reserves, and I said previously that that was there as a placeholder to indicate any grant money that comes in. If it's on the general side, to help with renovating the plaza. If it's on the enterprise side, to help with renovating the water plant. And after further review, to prevent confusion there, I zeroed out anything about incoming transfers from reserves and put in a separate line item for grant funding. And that's where you see G46 there at the top of page 2, community development grant funding for the plaza. That number that's there is a placeholder. We do not know. You know, I've heard something about 600 and some thousand matching grant from the Tobacco Commission. I don't know what other factors might be involved there. So I put that number in there as a starting point. If you look over on page 5 of line G172, there's that same 700,000 going right back out to work on the plaza.
You mean 700,000?
Did I?
You said 500.
Oh, it was, yeah, it was previously 500.
Okay.
Yeah. So those two, the important thing to notice there is that those two items are a wash. Okay? And they don't pull normal tax money that's used for everything else. So whatever comes in line G46 in grant money is the amount that goes out in G172 for working on the plaza. Those two things should match each other in the year mark. You don't use the grant money for everything else in the budget. You don't use the tax money that's for everything else on renovating the plaza. That way you account for it cleanly. That was the rationale for that. So the two things balance without affecting all the rest. And likewise, when you go into the enterprise fund, if you look at the very top of page 6, now, you know, there's a number there, and I don't know, you know, what that number's going to be.
And what'd you say, I've lost somewhere in space there?
Top of page 6, E15.
E15, top of page, okay.
Top of page 6, yeah. Grant funding for water, wastewater infrastructure. So whatever the source may be, whether it's through the arrangements we have with the health department and or others, that's a number that's put in place there. and it can be adjusted if need be. And then when you go down to page 7, in the middle, you will see where most of that goes back out. Under capital, water plant renovation,
72 and
500,000.
73.
E72, E73. Okay, you've got 709,000 of it going out right there. Now, smaller parts of it, you can account for being distributed elsewhere. For example, Bob's salary, the class 1 waterworks operator can be attributed to that because that is connected to renovating the water plant. That's not our normal water operations.
Where are you now?
And now that one is at the middle of page 6,
Does that grant,
E23. Now, that kind of thing there, you know, we will have to figure out and iron out how to make that work. I'm not sure about the details of that.
Why would you charge like 70%? Because in mind, what I was doing was a separate area for the, our water treatment plant, so that we could charge chemicals and everything to that as a separate area. Because we're gonna have chemicals, it's gonna be labor. Bob may work 20 hours up there this week, and, you know, it's not a whole lot going on, and nothing need to be there. We want him working with Joe and Bob.
Yeah. So, you know, we may need to figure out exactly how to distribute that. And again, this is a start point. The other thing to keep in mind right there is E70, okay, top middle of page 7, water system engineering. That was a new line item that was identified Thursday night. We're gonna have to have engineering services. Okay. Bob is a wastewater, a water treatment plant operator. He's not an engineer. That's services that will have to be from external sources such as P and Lords or others who are to use. So, you know, there's different places in here that address what we're doing with our new water plant and with phase 2 on our existing distribution system. But anyway, that is a way to account for it, and if, you know, if everybody wants to move some of these things around and group them differently, I mean, certainly we can do that. That's why we're here to talk about it, to figure out what everybody wants to do.
Yeah, I got a question. I'm trying to find it. Going back to the grant for the water treatment plant, how much did you have for that?
854?
I just put 854 in there. It seemed to work kind of with everything else, but.
854,000?
Yeah.
That's 8 million.
It's 8 million.
Yeah, the grant.
Okay.
But all that wouldn't come through in the first fiscal year, right?
Well, no, because what it is we do the expenditures and we have to turn it in and then we get reimbursed for our costs. So, no.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not entirely sure how to account for that. I didn't figure they're just gonna give us $8 million up front.
Yeah,
They don't normally.
It might be a good idea to do a budget, like a 3-year forecasted budget just for the treatment plant.
Yeah, see, that's what I was doing with the engineering, is spread the engineering over 3 years, because that could be a 3-year project.
Yeah, I'm just making up 3 years, but just to
You're
forecast what
real
the cost
close
would
to
be.
right, you know, before it's fully functional.
Yeah.
It's
There's a lot of work.
It's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, that is a launch point for our conversation. That's not necessarily a final problem.
Do we know the exact number on that grant?
Exact number on the grant,
8 million you said, but is it exactly 8 million?
that's what we applied for,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So we don't have the award letter yet.
No, but we're also researching, if you remember going back, 3 years now, we did the one with the state of Virginia for 7 million.
Mm-hmm.
So, that money has been allocated, but it hadn't gone into the budget. It's supposed to go into the budget this year, so that may be another 7 we get.
That would be fantastic.
We can't count that one
Yeah.
quite yet,
You know,
but we're trying to get it.
Well, and like all the grant money on this budget that we see, none of it gets spent, right? We're not gonna spend any money from this grant pot until we have it in hand. So it's a contingency.
Yeah, you can't, well, what we're gonna do, once they notify you that the grant has been approved, then that money's available. What we have to do is turn in expenditures from contractors and engineering and all that, we turn it into them. It's certain forms you have to fill out a certain way, and then they'll refund you your money.
Okay.
So we have to spend the money first.
Yeah,
Refund.
definitely. Oh, that's fantastic, multiplying that by 10.
As far as, you know, how to try to account for these things on the budget, it's difficult because there's still so many unknowns. It's so early in the process of acquiring grant funding. And it's not like something that's going to all come in and be processed in the fiscal year we're planning for. That it's going to take 2 or 3 years, not to be staged. So again, I put this in here as a starting point.
One thing I like to think about is, what are our priorities for this next year as a council? And what are we going to fund as our main priorities, right? And first thing that comes to mind is the water treatment plant and phase 2 of our water system improvements. You know, I put Plaza maybe at the same level. I don't know if it's exactly there. I think water treatment is still the most important. But those 3 things, I think, are our most important large expenditures we're planning to make next year, right?
The plaza is important because of what it represents,
Yeah.
and that's huge.
Mhm.
You can't put a dollar figure on that because what we have over there is failure, pure and simple, failure. And what the renovation is going to do is, we're back.
Yeah. And if we time it well with audio, it could really boost our,
And we'll be ready for.
meals tax and hopefully and other types of income we can get.
It's all kind of a top priority, it all goes together,
Well,
because we have a large industry
Yeah.
hoping to begin construction this summer.
But are there,
They are going to want, that's gonna bring people into the town who want places to eat and shop and so on. And we've also been blessed to acquire this water plant with the intention of having our own and ultimately being able to reduce these insanely high volumetric rates that we have to a sensible level. Until that gets done, we can't bring that reduction to life. So it all needs doing yesterday. That's the situation that we have. I wouldn't want to have to pick between them myself if I could help it.
well, I don't think we need to, but I just think we should all be on the same page of what we want to spend money on as a council for next year and the coming years, right? And that would help us drive the amount of money that we're gonna spend. I know we have grants that are telling us this is exactly what you have. But, you know, when we talk about water rate increases, if we're doing that to make it so we can fund the treatment plant, because that's our priority, then it may be that we should do that, right? I'm just putting ideas out there.
The increase in the water rates is supposed to be the phase 2, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't help us with the new plant. And while we're on that, I went ahead and put in the 1940 as required according to that schedule that we supposedly have. I mean, we discussed that last Thursday. Now, you know, I don't know that we have a definitive answer or when we will have one as to whether or not they will give us any kind of number on that rate requirement. The only thing that I know to do, and that's why I did this and drafted this proposal, is to go ahead and put the increase in the budget, assuming we're gonna have to do it. And then if we subsequently get word that we don't have to, then we can simply pass a separate measure to leave the rate where it is and not go up.
well, I can tell you what they told me. I mean, it came right from the horse's mouth, that if you are wanting to work under this consent order, then all aspects of the consent order would apply.
Well, if that's the answer, that means that's, you know, it's what it is.
Yeah.
There was some conversation at one time thinking that maybe since we were in a stronger financial position, that they might would be a little easier on us about the rates.
Yeah,
But if not, then,
well, they said that would be the first choice you would have to make. Do you wanna do all funding? Because if you're not under the consent order, then the funding package would be different. You're gonna have to fund it and be a self-funder type. That, you know, you're getting that funding, and one of the guys at the VRA told me, why wouldn't you want to be under the consent order to get the funding?
well, you know, that's a conversation we've had, and if we're getting that much help to pay for the project, or projects, plural, then it may just be the price we have to pay for a while in order to get that.
I think it's gonna be that.
I was hoping that, given the situation, that maybe they might give us a little bit of waiver just on the rate requirement for this 1 year, so that we could mitigate the situation for the citizens and businesses, but it may not. And therefore, it's in the budget to go ahead with, you know, what we're supposed to do, even though we don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty rigid. If you're under a consent order, and you're operating under it, you adhere to all the rules of it. And he said that, yeah, it looks like that you guys have gone, you know, a considerable amount of time without any adverse effects on your tests and all of that, and it's really looking good. So if you were to come to us and say, hey, look, we want to pull out from under the consent order, then, you know, we would certainly be willing to talk to you about that. But if you pull out from under the consent order, that goes away, so you're self-funded.
Then we probably won't make the improvements.
Well, then you
But their point was, all of these improvements at your pump station and all need to be made.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're under the consent order or not, you need to make them because you got real problems.
They're getting old.
Yeah, I mean, Joe and Paula having to babysit the pumps now, they down at least 1 or 2 days, nights a week, bumping these things on and off to get them to stay going. I mean, well, my hope and prayer is they just last long enough to get the new ones put in, and they may not. And then it's gonna become, we don't have these new ones on order, we don't have them in, and the project hadn't started. But what do we do if wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, we don't have pumps to pump water?
You know, the 500,000 apiece.
I forget what the price is.
Well, that's kind of the rock and hard place that we have, because if we come out from under the CO to get out of the rate requirement, then we're basically saying we don't want your help paying for the rest of this, we'll just pay for it with our own money. And that's gonna cost us more than the difference will be.
Cost everything got done.
And we finally have, you know, $1 in reserves for things that we're going to need to do. This is just the beginning of what we're gonna need to do going forward. It's just the beginning.
By God made grants.
Is it okay if I show PowerPoint? Because Marissa, our treasurer, Marissa gave me the last 3 fiscal years of our budgets versus actuals, and then I looked at the trends to use as forecasting. And I'd like to show, I think it's really good info. I'd love to share it with y'all.
Hallelujah. Somebody actually looked at a trend.
It's what I
I
do
feel
every
like
day.
standing up and saluting.
Can I get the cable with the TV? Everybody should have a Word document that's gonna go along with this. You can look at the TV or you can look at the Word document, whichever you like. And it goes directly with what Gary has given to you as well. That's the budget it's working on.
And that's pretty much what I have on the spreadsheet, those are the main changes, so, a whole lot else at the moment. Bob put together quite an analysis there on fairly short notice.
I got a question about that analysis. Used AI?
Yeah.
Yeah, does a fantastic job.
I checked the numbers behind it, but it looks good.
How long did it take?
About 30 minutes.
What I did was like 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, most of the time it took was just verifying that I did the math right.
Did you do a Monte Carlo simulation with it? Man, I did it, and it blew that thing out like nothing.
You would put that on for me.
I thought it was on.
Yeah, I use AI every day for my job. But that's why I want us to look at it together, because it can make mistakes, so we should verify that it's correct.
Hallucinations.
Exactly. And when I first started using it 4 or 5 years ago, it did a lot. And it's gotten, I mean, just this year, it's gotten fantastic. So, I use Claude mostly.
Why?
Yeah. So, nothing to be concerned about, just things that I think we should look at. Revenue overstatement risk is about $30,000, and under budget risk is about the same, $35,000. And then some structural improvements that Gary, you put together, I thought were really great, like the lettering, that makes it so much easier to understand where we're at in the budget line. But if you look, general fund, the total proposed budget of 1.386 million, and that's with that 700,000 grant, that what bumps it up a lot. Normally it's around $600,000 from year to year. So that grant will push that up or down depending on it. And then we have that $949,000 in the bank, right, for the general fund. Worst case exposure for the general fund is that we could lose $85,000 if our numbers were wrong from what we proposed in this budget, right? If we hit some very odd scenarios where we don't pull in meals tax, this is what we're estimating. Enterprise fund, the big risk is if we don't have that 30.5 million, right? If we do 23 million, that could cost us about $100,000. But we have 1.4 million in the bank, so we're okay if we make a bad assumption on how high we go, right? Now, we're still under consent order for the price that we're trying to set our customers at. But say we do the exact same we did last year, at this new price, we would lose about $100,000 from our reserve. So that's just at a glance.
If we don't use the 30 million
If we do 23 million,
instead of 30.
yeah, at the 1940. So the meals tax, that's one of the ones that was a little bit odd. When we looked at the trends, it actually had been going down. And if you look here, this is your budget versus actual on the fiscal years. So if you see, actual is the dark, and it's going down each year. So that's not good. But we propose that it's going to go up back to about 2024 because we're making the assumption that when construction starts on all these projects, we're hopefully going to get more meals tax. So that's a risk we're taking.
It was a fair assumption.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fair.
It is, and the number I put in that line item also is, at least in part based on the fact that 10 out of 12 months into the current FY, it shows it has performed better than it did last year. It shows an upward trend.
Yeah,
So that was taken into account also.
Yeah, it's flatlined these last 2 years, right? Whereas fiscal year 2024, we had almost 10,000 more.
You know, it's one of those things that it's not forecasting this is not an exact science either. The people complain about the economy, and there's a lot of ways in which it's not good. But every eatery that I know of stays busy.
Yeah.
And people continue to keep the road hot, whether it's $2 a gallon or $5 a gallon for gas.
Well, there's two things you can't do with that.
You know, and then you add on top of that, I mean, the pandemic is fully behind us. Things are generally staying pretty busy, even though prices are high. Everywhere we go to eat stays busy.
Mm-hmm.
There's always people over here at Yamazaki. There's always people at Apple Market. There's always people at B&B.
So we're hoping that it's even busier next year.
And if you,
That's where you're thinking the increase is gonna come from.
That's
I mean, that eating place, B&B up here on top of the hill, that's it.
well, those three.
Riverside technically has meals as well.
They haven't been paid any meals.
They haven't been paying it, so we should look
Well,
at that.
that needs looking into.
Because they have food for sale.
Because they, in the past, Apple Market has sold a lot of food.
They have, the whole time I've been.
And that recently, I haven't kept up
Thank you
with
for
it
telling
that
us.
recently, but it it used to.
They're not filing a report?
Well, that's all
Well,
they advertise is food now.
They're sending me a paper, but each time they send in a paper, it says 0.
Well, that means
They go in
But they did have it closed down a while.
They did.
Yeah, they wasn't selling any food a while back.
Yeah, Steve, to answer
But
your
even
question,
since that sign has been up, they still haven't turned anything in.
We're gonna have to wait on
Thank you. So these are what the conversations are for, is for us to find out.
Apple Market, B&B, and Yamamoto are really the only source of meals tax. that we
That's
have
where
right
you
now.
said, that's where you said the increase is gonna come from, these three places.
The reason I put a higher number in there is that so far in the current FY, it shows it's up from what it was last year. Now, the only unknown there is if there was some income coded in there that might should have gone in another line. I don't have access to that.
Be surprised.
What is the potential overstatement, 10 to 12,000 that they gave you?
So basically, we are potentially overstating what we're gonna settle or collect by $10,000, because what we've done is about $50,000 the last 2 years here. So if we put it at 62, that's about 10,000 more than what we trimmed last year. So it's, with all budgets, we're not gonna be exactly right. So we just wanna be as close as possible. So we just have to accept, is 62,000 a good number or not?
You just happen to see something that makes sense.
Okay, so I think 62 is a fair number, but if we want to be more conservative, let's drop it down to 56, right? I think it really depends on when does construction start.
And it's gonna start as fast as they can get in and get going. I think they're gonna be started within the next 60 days is the plan.
If that's the case, then it's starting
Yeah.
before the beginning of the fiscal year.
Right, but what I'm saying is, now when they start, it's gonna be site prep and stuff like this, not major buildings and that type of construction. But we will see some people here,
Yeah,
and that's what we're looking for.
so we just have to make the decision, is 62,000 a good number that we want to estimate based on what we see trending and what we think is going to occur. And I think it's close. I don't think we're going to get it exactly right.
Yeah, I'm with you, I agree.
Everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right, because we have quite a few to get through. All right, so the Stanton Plaza lease and then the cigarette tax. So the Plaza lease, fiscal year 2024, I believe, was the first year that we had the Plaza as part of our budget. So that's why we just had no clue before we purchased it. So that's why the budget versus actual is so off. And then fiscal year 2025, last year, I think we lost one of our tenants there at some point, and that's what caused our budget to be a fair bit less than what we actually expected. And then this year, we are still trending lower than our budget, where it doesn't look like we're gonna hit the amount we budgeted for in lease revenue. So, do we think leases are gonna go up, or are they gonna stay the same, or are they gonna go back down? That's what we have to decide. Because what we're seeing right here is that we're at about $35,000 is what we're probably gonna get this year. And we've estimated a little bit over 50. So that's a $20,000 difference. That's nothing that's a fairly big difference. So do we?
This is different from how many cigarettes somebody's gonna buy or
Yeah,
how much food they're gonna buy. We're gonna have a contract that has to be followed by payments of monthly rent. So we ought to be able to hit this very close.
and do we have those numbers that I can have to put in this?
Well, what we're doing is, we need to get them in the contract again, whether we do, since we know that we're gonna start on construction here pretty quick on the outside, do we wanna look at it like, is this gonna affect their business on the inside? Do we go to month while construction's going on, or do we give them a 3-year? I hated, Yamamoto's tonight, they want 20 years.
Well, yeah, and so that's all gonna affect our forecast for what we put in this number here. So if we do month to month, that's a lot tougher for us to estimate.
I hope we get them on these leases ASAP.
But we're in a transition period to where, some of the ones that are in there, we don't wanna end up with them. Is that not right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want, I'm choosing my words wisely because Shannon, I don't want it to be in the paper. You know, when you look at what's in there, there's certain things that are good tenants that you want, but it's certain things that tear up the inside of the building and because of the nature of what the business is.
Yeah, we have to make a decision as a council how we're gonna proceed with these leases. And if, I think it's safest during a transition period to keep who we have and then, you know, do a 6-month lease or something like that. Get our construction done, see what the value of those spaces are at that point, and then figure out what we're gonna charge.
Do we do it year to year for a while?
We can do whatever we want, really. I mean, it just has to be contractually right.
6-month lease or whatever we say. At this point, you're in a kind of a transition period, so maybe we can't be very accurate this year, but once we get stabilized, we ought to be able to nail it very accurate.
Real tight, you're exactly right.
Yeah,
This was one of the ones that was really a struggle to try to think about, because in putting that number in there, I mean, I noticed the downward trend, but I also know that, you know, we lost somebody. I know that we were having a discussion of redoing some leases and probably an increase in rental rates and, again, the possibility of new tenants coming in.
Well,
You can't forecast all of that. We don't have enough information.
one of the possibility on a new one is the training center
Mhm.
for Avio. And if they come in and they take Winn-Dixie versus Planet Fitness, then, I mean, that's, either way it goes is gonna be good. But somebody's gonna have to spend some money in that. If I were in their shoes and I spent the money to fix that building up, I'd want a sweetheart lease and I'd want some time on it.
yeah, usually if you build to suit, you get a longer lease.
You have to consider
I mean,
things
but
like
you gotta look at, they gotta do a ceiling, they gotta do a complete rewiring job on the inside. I mean, they're gonna spend a couple $1 million in that building.
And-
Ceiling for a roof.
Yeah,
Well, we're gonna pay for the roof,
They
but,
gotta do a roof and a ceiling.
yeah.
so my gut is telling me, and this is just looking at the numbers here, put it somewhere around 40,000 as our proposed, because if you look here, it's been sitting right around 40. Last year dropped down a little bit. I guess being pessimistic, I just don't see next fiscal year it jumping that high. With construction going on and things like that, but I'm happy to hear other opinions.
Well, you lost one of your better clients, better runners. We did do that. But in all fairness, the last 3 or 4 months, there's been an uptick in interest and I've shown it more.
Okay. I mean, if we're fine with this amount, I can live with it. It is, you know, potentially, what, $20,000 if we don't get it right. But, you know, we're probably gonna overstate in other places as
Well, I
well.
was gonna say we've hemorrhaged $20,000 in the past.
Yeah, and we
didn't
have,
even know it.
and we do have enough in the reserve to cover this difference, right? We said at the beginning, 35,000 was the big difference if we don't hit the trends, right? Or our proposed are higher than our trends.
I mean, if we put these numbers in and we don't hit them and you proposing taking money out of the reserves to fund the budget,
If that's what we have to do, if we don't have the money coming in.
now you just take the loss and go on. I mean, I don't think we ought to take money out of reserves to prop up the budget.
I'm not,
Well, he's not saying using it in preparing the budget right now.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. What he's talking about is if these forecast revenues don't verify, then when you get into the last quarter, if you haven't taken in enough to take care of what you've spent, then you might have to pull a little bit to cover the rest of the
are you
way.
saying that you would take a loan to cover the difference?
I would say that we do just like it's gone in the past. Some things don't have full funding. That, like,
Oh, okay, you're saying we just don't spend money on a certain
we don't,
other line.
right.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying, it's not there for us to spend, is what I'm trying to say, if we don't hit that proposed amount that we expect in revenue.
And this kind of thing here has more bust potential than some line items.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to
And I
highlight it.
know that's why you're highlighting it.
Yeah, so if everybody's okay with 55,000 as proposed, we can move on, or,
Well, now, when you say 55,000, we need, well, I'd like to know, what's it paying now? What's it gonna pay for the next year with what you've got in there now?
well, if it's gonna be like this year, it's 34,000.
Then you're saying we're gonna raise it to 50?
That's what the proposed number is right now,
Where-
55.
Where do you think that increase is gonna come from?
It would have to come from new leases that have a higher rate or more tenants.
Or both.
Okay, so the new leases is probably not gonna happen until you get this construction done, do you think?
That's my assumption, but I'm not a business person at heart, I'm more of a data analytics guy, so.
I think that depending on the nature of the business that comes in, you could possibly get somebody in that with no interior construction going on, just a facade, they would be okay with it.
Do you have anybody inquiring for some more?
Talking 1-2 weeks ago.
Well, you're talking with them, but what you feeling on that? I mean, sometimes you can talk to people, and you
Yeah,
tell they're full of
my feeling
hell.
on the one that I talked to 2 weeks ago is it isn't anybody we would want, and they probably couldn't pay the rent anymore.
But I'd be easy how I put that big price up there.
So then, what do we think, 45,000?
That's
Take
just,
it down by 10,
Is that what you're saying?
do 45,000 as the proposed number?
Be safer.
It would be safer.
And you gotta realize whatever number you put there has a certain amount of speculation to it.
Every number today we talk about.
Pretty much every number in there, unless it's something that's.
Yeah, I think it's ranked.
Yeah.
So, okay,
As long as we ain't talking about propping it up out of
yeah,
reserves.
my
And
point
I
is
think
just,
that would be a good number.
okay, so 45,000, we write that down.
Because if you get somebody in where the best tenant moved out into the church place over here, it may not be a church, but it may be something else. It could be a babysitting service because it's set up right for that. You would easily replace that church number or take us right back up to real close to where we need to be.
Yeah,
That one right there alone would get us close to it.
I'd love to be conservative and just be happy at the end of the year.
I think that's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
So
Me
let's,
too.
let's do 45 then instead of 55.
Yeah.
All right, G21 cigarette tax. So you saw fiscal year 2025 dropped by about $10,000, a massive drop.
Yeah.
And I think we figured out part of that was well, it doesn't matter. But either way, it bumped back up this year to about $7,000 in revenue. We're still lower than our proposed. So the trend is going up. Do we think that trend is going to continue? Or do we think it's going to go back down?
A little food for thought on that. We've had a couple of the cigarette distributors that buy stamps from us, returning stamps because they had no needs for them. So that tells me that it looks like they're expecting a downward trend.
And that's the national trend as well. I looked into it. Most localities have been reporting less revenue from cigarette taxes.
Optimistic has had less.
Yeah, and they have a lot more stores to sell.
Yeah.
We talked about charging for vaping.
Yes,
Are we doing that?
we are not currently.
I don't think we want to.
Can we?
I believe we can, John, isn't that true?
Yeah, I think that maybe there's been a new a tweak in the statute that would allow, I thought that, but there's certain kinds of it that you can, and but not all of it.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd
Yeah, it
area.
might be worth the effort.
The fluid that goes in, I think you can tax that.
Yeah, and some of them are disposables. I see the signs for them out there.
So maybe instead of going up to 8,500, just leaving it at 75 where we are now.
I mean,
On what?
on
on cigarette. I think keep it where we are.
Yeah, I wouldn't go up on it.
I would say 7,000, 75 at the most. So, all right. So, some of these, I think, are just good discussion points for us to understand as a group, because I think they're explainable, like the police department operating budget. Fiscal year 2024, we were actually under budget by 27,000. 2025, we were over by 5,000. This year, we're over by 17,000. So, we proposed $4,000. We have not been at $4,000 for the last 2 years. So, the police department,
Most of the stuff in the PD, I put in there after conferring with Jason, because he wanted to kind of redistribute some things and have some different account names and numbers and such as that. He's not here to speak to why that operating expense line was so far over.
yeah,
And that could be a coding issue. Or
Yeah.
some of it could be, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't want to accuse anybody of anything,
Well,
I don't know.
I think they had to purchase some upgraded equipment here recently, didn't they?
Tasers or something
Yes.
like that?
It's probably something like that that just, came up out of the blue, oh, this needs doing, and that's where it went. And it wasn't planned for.
Yeah.
I think that's probably normally, I don't think we're,
But typically what he does is try to get grants to cover most of it.
Oh, he does a great job getting grants.
he does.
So, we just need to understand, does he expect it to be higher, right? Or does he truly believe 4,000 is where it's gonna be at? And are we okay with that? Because we have gone over budget the last 2 years.
What kind of input did he have on the 4,000?
I don't remember him saying anything outstanding about it. I had the impression, leave it where it is, which is 4,000 in the current FY.
Then I believe it.
So I think that one is probably okay.
Okay, then we'll leave that one alone.
Actually, I think we did probably a little more modification to the PD budget overall than we did some of the others. Because he and I went through that stuff line by line by line. It's been a little while, I don't remember all the talking points, but, I think overall the PD budget situation should be better this time around.
Yeah.
So we renamed some things and separated some things and added some line items and so on to make it, to streamline it. So I'm hoping that the flow of that is a lot better.
All right, so G79, admin miscellaneous. The last 2 years, it's been about $10,000. And we are proposing that it's gonna be 560 this year.
Well, normally that item is less than 1,000. That's just kind of a catch-all, like if something comes along that's needed in the office or the building here that doesn't really fit well in any of the other line items. That's not normally intended to be a large line item.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be over 1,000 in most cases. But now, what went in there that made it run way over, I don't know.
Do we know? Off the top of your heads, I know it's a lot.
Not off the top of his, but we're looking at some of the others as well.
Did we say something about the computers, the new computers?
Yes, I'm sure that was part of it. No, we put that under,
Now, we have an IT budget.
yeah, we put that under
Yeah,
that.
the only one that may have hit miscellaneous may have been the first one that you brought in from Laney.
Yeah, that was 1,000 at most.
Yeah, that could be part of it. I don't remember.
Yeah. I'd have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, so miscellaneous budgets, we want to minimize them as much as possible. We want to keep things in a true bucket if we can. So we can keep this at the 560, but I think it warrants our treasurer and clerk and the mayor, if they have time, to just really understand what was high and are those expected to continue for miscellaneous next year. Same thing with police department miscellaneous.
We have that line item in each department.
Yep, we have it in every department.
And in most of the cases, it should be relatively small things, a few $100s or less, that don't really fit anywhere else. And that's what that line item's for.
Yeah, and so the last 3 years, it's been, 24 PD was at 1,100, 25, 841, and then this year, 7,000. So that's a big jump. of miscellaneous expenses. And I think the proposed at 250 is too low to me. I think we should bump that up probably to 1,000, because even our lowest amount was at 840 in the last 3 years as an expense.
Do y'all make an account for the increased cost of living, with the rate at 3.8 now, inflation rate?
We do talk about that when we talk about what to provide as raises.
Well, but it affects everything.
It does.
It affects everything you buy. Every pack of paper
Yeah.
is more expensive.
Oh, it does.
Mhm.
All of everyone's raises is 3.5.
Yeah, I'm not talking about raises. I saw the raises, but every expense we have is going to be more.
You know, I think you would see probably, I think say things like electric and office supplies and stuff like that.
Everything that's delivered.
There was a little, I didn't do a percentage based on inflation. I just did an extrapolation based on performance so far in the current fiscal year, showing if you extend that out, it shows an upward trend, not necessarily 3.8%, but there is one.
So,
It's likely to go up more than 3.8%.
So it might.
yeah, the fuel costs stay high. So, PD miscellaneous, I think it needs to be higher than 250. Just looking at the last 3 years, only fiscal year 2025 was less than 1,000, and it was very close. I think, like we said, a miscellaneous budget should be 1,000 at most, hopefully, and that, I think we should propose that as our expense there.
Do you think that should be 1,000?
I do. Just looking at the last 3 years. And we can come back to this, right? This is all for discussion for us.
Okay.
Memberships, this one has been high as well. I mean, these are smaller numbers in the budget, but I think they're worth talking about. 2024, 250, 2025, 3,100. This year, 2,500. Is that the Virginia Municipal League membership?
It's 2 or 3, the Water Association, Rural Water, Association.
That's
It's
just-
3.
That goes in the enterprise side.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be in this.
So in the memberships and subscriptions, there are, our subscription for Adobe, which is like $248 a year for 2 of us. Our $150 for our email subscription, where we pay SMT to process our e-billing.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what else. I had a,
That right there, I'm so glad that you brought that up. That explains something. Because we had 2 line items under IT. See, memberships and subscriptions here is not for things like subscribing to that kind of stuff. This is like being members of VMA. We used to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. It's that type of thing. Over in the IT, we had a line item over there, G161, email and website maintenance. I zeroed that and consolidated it in to technical services and support because it was not being used. And the same with managed services agreement. They're at the top of page 5. I just zeroed those and merged them all into G158 because those 2 accounts weren't being used. And that's what they're for, is that email and website maintenance is to pay Civic Plus and Outlook and Adobe and whatever, all of that stuff is IT. So I think that may be what is creating some of that,
Okay.
what's doing that.
Well, I'm glad we caught that.
That's an easy fix. It's just a simple matter of next fiscal year coded under IT.
Okay.
That'll fix that.
So what other memberships did you have the whole list, Shannon?
I can run to my.
Oh, no, it looked like you were looking at a list.
Yeah, I'm looking just at a budget I had.
Okay. Well, that's
I
all.
think my other piece is
Okay.
I've been trying to get a Of course, I'm not doing the bill paying and stuff anymore, so I haven't done much work on it. But I've got worksheets where I'm trying to create for each department, and then under each line, get everything that's supposed to be paid out of that line.
Great.
That way, it's gonna take a lot of the guessing out, but there's still a lot of things that I wouldn't think to put under lines that you guys do.
Yeah,
So it takes a long time to get this established, but if we get it established, then it will stop all this.
Oh,
yeah, thank you for doing that.
You hit the nail on the head. You've got to establish that, and that's a process, it's not an event. That's something that takes a while to work through, a cycle or two to work all the way through all that. If you ever get there and lock on a holding pattern, you won't have to keep worrying about it after that, I wouldn't think. That's what's going on, it's just, nobody's done anything wrong, it's just honest misunderstanding about.
It's the turnover because Kelsey and Ellen had every vendor, they had it written down in the files as to where every vendor and their goods, where they went,
Yeah.
which line item.
There's so many relatively minute details to pay attention to with stuff to keep this thing balanced and flowing like it should. It's not an easy job. For example, when you're going to buy, if you're buying paper and postage to mail out water bills, it needs to be coded in postage and office supplies under enterprise.
Mhm.
But if it's for everything else, tax billing and day-to-day operations here in the office, then it goes on the general side. The same thing when Joe and Paul go to buy fuel. If they put the fuel in the lawnmower, we have a place for that in general public works. If it's diesel for the generator at the pump house, then it's gonna be enterprise. Stuff like that can real easily slip through the cracks and get stuck somewhere where it looks like it's a good fit. But it requires that little extra attention to detail, and then this doesn't come up. See, the integrity of the budget versus actual, when you get 3/4 of the way through the year, is so important when it goes to trying to forecast what to put in the next year's projection. I mean, now, you know, some of us, I think Gary and I probably have a difference of opinion with that, and that's fine. I've leaned heavily on that ever since I've been making budgets. More so than the national inflation factor. I use that more for HR type things and to some extent for fuel. But this is not an easy thing.
Yep.
It requires time and it requires thought.
So, Shannon, I don't mean to put pressure on you, but do you have an estimate of when you'll have that list done?
I started working on it when you guys hired me.
Okay,
And
I was just
I'm
wondering.
not handling any of the billing and stuff like that, so I can only slide things in as I hear about it.
Okay.
But I'm more than happy to send you guys the sheets that I have, and then maybe y'all can also help get things in there for me.
Yes, send me what you got.
Your minimum memberships and subscription should not be 400, it should be at minimum 625. If the only thing you're keeping under here is the newspaper,
Okay,
because the newspaper subscription is 625.
that's good to know. Thank you.
$625 a year for one newspaper. When did they go up that high?
We've been paying that for a little bit.
All right, what about the VML?
Virginia Municipal League?
I don't know about, you'd have to ask Marissa.
Okay, so,
Because that's the type of things that goes in that right there. Is organizations that we're members of, and things we subscribe to, like magazines, newspapers, media type things. If it's an IT subscription, like a software package, it's going to go over in the 171 section. under
I did see one magazine subscription when I was messing around in some of the things. It was $150.
okay, so we're pushing 800 already. So it might be safer to put this at 1,000. But I think it'd be great if you could find, or send us the list of all those memberships that we have, reoccurring fees, and then we can put a better number here. Because 400 is just a ballpark, right?
Yeah.
You said newspapers, magazines, what is VML? I don't know.
Virginia Municipal League, every municipality that I know of in Virginia is a member.
That was the sponsor for the
I think
conference you went to.
that's 900 and something.
Is it?
I think I have seen that
All
one.
right, now that goes in this memberships and subscriptions, that's what that's for, because that's administrative work. All right, so in other words, G 81 needs to be quite a bit more than 400.
Yeah.
It needs to be,
Probably like 1,000.
Easy.
Yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be more.
It sounds more like 15 than 1,000.
Well, I mean, look at,
Because
we
you've got.
we might not have those actuals in the right bucket, but
All right,
You
Let's
gotta
do 15.
remember, some of those memberships are gonna be split between enterprise too, so.
now, the
does the
rural,
new municipal league,
uh,
does the municipal league one do?
No.
Okay.
yeah.
the Rural Water Association is all in the price, so that's all about water.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we think, 1,500 or 2,000? or-
Let's do 15 for now, and then if we can get the statements on all those recurrings, then we can figure out a better number. Building and grounds, so we did, or Gary, excuse me, broke this apart into separate line items. One's for the plaza versus other building and grounds, so that we don't muddy the waters with what we're spending on the plaza versus the town or the park here.
Well, these- you really need to define them well.
Yeah, we do.
Education.
Right.
Would that,
No.
then also go into.
Well, we've spent,
I say if you're gonna
Yeah,
pull them all out and
International
separate them,
Institute for
you have a good
Municipal
descriptor
Works.
with exactly what they are, because we've got a lot of buildings.
So
right?
that one's.
Yeah, that is a good point. The way it was done in here,
Because now, we're gonna have the water treatment plant, we're gonna have, the plaza's gonna be in general.
yeah, community
Yeah.
development grant expenditure plaza.
Yeah, and you got the pump station, the Sycamore Creek pump station.
So we're looking at 143.
All right, so you're at G143?
Yep, and so in the last year, or this current fiscal year, we spent 17,000 in there. It was about 3,600 the year before, and 27,000 fiscal year 2024. So 3,000, if nothing changes, is too low. I mean, we have a lot of buildings now. So if we're not breaking them apart,
I
we
would
need
say-
to increase this by quite a bit.
I would say that 3,000 deserves a look.
It almost should be 30,000. Really, considering the amount of grounds and acquisitions we're having with the water treatment plant.
That, for clarity, that is why the plaza one was made separate there. Understand that 10,000 there in G145 is nothing but a start point. I don't know what should go there.
Okay,
That is for things like if something breaks over there and needs working on.
like the AC
The
unit.
air conditioner goes out, there's a leak in a pipe or the roof or something like that. That is not for the big renovation project. We have a separate line item for renovation. This is just maintaining it because you own it, irrespective of any renovation.
Which one are you talking about? 141?
G145,
Yeah, just go to
page 4, middle of page.
Yeah,
Now, G143, buildings and grounds general, that is like if something happens here around this building and the yard around it, or the pavilion out here, or the storage building, something like that, around here. But we don't have a lot of buildings.
we're not in enterprise in this spot, so where are you putting the pump stations and all that?
That would be an enterprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were talking about buildings and grounds.
Okay,
Such as that in the plaza, so we're on page 4 of that.
yeah, gotcha.
So that buildings and grounds line item, we spent about $30,000 in 2024, 3,600 in 25, and 1,700 in 26. So do we expect that number to stay the same? So somewhere between 30,000 and 18,000?
I would say so, because let's expect those low balls, stuff was put in other areas.
Yeah, I
Because it
think,
didn't change that much, we still had to do the same amount of work.
I think 3,000 is a nice number, but this is one of those ones that we might be under budgeted. here.
Well, do you think 5 or 8 or what kind of number?
I mean, I think it's at least 15,000. I mean, just looking at these numbers.
So now, what's the general gonna cover? What structures or?
It would be town hall, the park, the area around here, any sort of land that we also have that we need to make improvements to that's not related to public works.
It's not related to water and wastewater.
Yeah, excuse me, yes.
All right,
So we have to make that decision, you know.
And we really need to be sure that we've got the plaza expenses separated out.
And we do in this budget. We have maintenance at $10,000 right now.
now that was the reason for G145 was for that to be a discrete feature from everything else.
As our new leasing, we're going to charge the tenants a proportional share of those expenses.
If we have a rough month, you'll spend $5,000 over there pushing snow, throwing down salt, and keeping all clean. A
So,
lot of time goes into it,
yeah, and we had a fairly good winter this year.
yeah. But, you know, we're gonna have to start, when we get working and people going around over there, we gotta keep that thing straight.
Yep.
So $3,000 is what's proposed. We have $10,000 on maintenance for the plaza, but maintenance, does that include snow removal? I
No,
wouldn't say.
no.
So where is that type of money gonna come from? Is it gonna come from this line?
I would say building and grounds. Why wouldn't we count that? Why wouldn't snow removal come under that?
Well, because then you're mixing the plaza with everything else.
Well, I thought we were talking about, I think, bringing the plaza out as a separate entity.
That's one.
So why wouldn't we have a building and grounds for the plaza?
That's fine with me.
We do, it's called Stanton Plaza General Maintenance, line G145, that's to fix anything or work on anything over there. Now, if you want another one, you know, just for,
But I mean, to me, general maintenance, well, I guess, yeah, I guess we could follow
I
that.
mean, if you wanna put snow removal in that, we can, or if you want a separate line item, we can, it doesn't take but a few minutes.
I think we just call it Santa Plaza Buildings and Grounds.
All right, so just change it from, or just add something to that, okay?
Because then it's at least 10,000 there.
I can come up with some money to do that.
So
Is 10 enough?
how much did we spend on the snow removal this year? Do we know roughly? Because I know Joe can do some of it, but he can't do it all.
Yeah, but,
It
you know,
didn't get removed.
yeah,
That hard stuff,
You
I
gotta do
remember
it
driving
immediately.
across it, it was about tore my car up.
yeah, yeah. I mean, once it froze down this year, I mean, it was just awful.
Well, we had like 2 weeks straight below freezing.
Yeah.
1 week.
Yeah.
So what did we pay outside contractors for? Do we have any idea?
I'd have to go back and look at it.
Okay.
We got
so-
an outside contractor when it got so bad. He had to come in with a skid steer.
It was a fluke year
And
though.
that break it up?
We've never had snow
Not really
creek.
I
good.
didn't think so.
Now, that's unusual.
Is it? Okay.
Nothing-
So it broke up some
nothing
of
would
it.
break it up.
No,
Yeah,
but they gotta just wait for warmer weather.
We have ice or we have snow. We don't have a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Put some warmer
That-
weather.
I'm I'm
Can't do that.
double your age and.
So we just need to make a decision here. It doesn't have to be a final decision. Are we okay with $3,000 for the town hall, buildings and grounds proposed amount? Right, not wastewater, water treatment, not the
I'll
plaza.
be all right for that.
Okay, so then the other question is for the plaza building and ground work. How much are we willing to spend? Right now, we have 10,000 there. It's a much larger building, much larger property. It doesn't include all the work we're already spending money on via the grant. So this is snow removal, this is replacing light bulbs,
Yeah, this is everything except the
fixing AC
renovation.
units.
Well, did we spend,
We spent-
10,000 on air conditioning down there for the
But-
restaurant?
Yeah, but he's talking about putting air conditioning under something else, aren't you?
I wasn't, but I'm open to
I thought you were
ideas.
gonna put that under like general maintenance and all.
I'm open to any of these. We just need to make sure we have enough money budgeted to spend when we have to spend that money. So how much money do
I
we
mean,
think we're gonna
there's a
spend?
lot of different ways we can skin this cat.
Well, just looking at the last few years, $30,000 fiscal year 2024 for all of our buildings and grounds, and we did own the plaza then, about halfway through that year. Then fiscal year 2025, we barely spent a dime. It was $3,600 on all of our buildings and grounds, which is honestly remarkable.
You know, I would bet on that, a lot of things got put in a different place.
And then 17,000 last year. So I think on all these little buckets, we should probably have at least 15,000 set aside for all of our buildings and grounds. And right now, we have 10,000 in stand, we have 3,000 on the,
All right, so you think maybe go up from 10 to 12 on the plaza one?
that, or we create a separate line item for maintenance type work versus general repair. Like I said, I'm spitballing here, y'all. I wanna know what y'all think.
I mean, to me, like, when I think of maintenance, I'm thinking about if we need a door fix, the air conditioner goes bad, or we gotta go in and fix some electronics in the building. To me, that's general maintenance. Buildings and grounds means, like, do you wanna include lawn mowing, cutting the grass and all that in that? Some towns do that.
All right, speaking of that, if we go
Putting
right,
plants in.
go right down below
Yeah.
this. Look at G152, right down below that. We used to have a line item there when we were contracting lawn mowing and trimming, and we have not used it the last couple of years, so I kept it 0.
Yeah, but we were contracting that, now it's in-house, we just need to know where to put that later.
So now, if we want to put something here under contractual services, we can just simply modify lawn care to, you know, snow removal or parking lot maintenance, I mean, whatever terminology. I don't think we're paying any, there's not much to mow over there, and Joe and Paul are doing the mowing, but, like you said, if you get into any kind of major snow removal, you're gonna be hiring somebody with heavy duty equipment.
It sounds like snow removal's the main thing we're worried about.
All right, so we wanna change that to snow removal and
That's
put
fine
a
with
dollar
me.
amount in there?
Yeah,
If you put a line item in there for snow removal, it will be hard to figure out what goes in.
I don't know, we might make it hard.
It's one of those things now, though, that due to the unpredictability of winter weather in the Mid-Atlantic, if you have an off year, you have some there you don't use for that, it may be available for some other issue that comes up.
So,
I know you don't like
I
that.
don't like that. I mean, in a budget, you take your lumps where you do because you need to go through the process we're going through right now. You need to know that they're accurate.
Well, that is true too.
so
I don't know, what
I think that's fine. Contractual services for snow removal, I think, put that in there, put $2,000 there for right now.
Alright.
Now we have 15,000 across all these buildings and grounds maintenance
all right,
that we have budgeted.
we can do it.
That's still a conservative number, I will point out. Last year we spent 17,000, and it was an odd year,
Yeah,
but,
it's kind
Maybe
of a
three
pretty
then?
bad year.
but there's no, you know. So I think we're fine at 15, and if we take their lumps next year, we'll figure out a better number.
Well, we're not gonna get any of, all of them, are we?
No. So the big one here that I'm sure no one wants to talk about is garbage collection.
Hmm.
Well, before you go on there, we have, under G152, we've got snow removal, $3,000, is that?
Well, they said 2, and then I mentioned 3, whatever y'all want. I put down 2, because that's what y'all said.
Let's do 2 for now.
All right, so we're gonna
2,000.
change lawn care to snow removal and put 2,000 into it, just as a
We're
start.
gonna keep Stanton Plaza General at 10,000
Yes,
and Building and Grounds General at 3.
yes.
All right.
Now, that theme right there, a couple of you weren't here last meeting. I wanna draw your attention to G149.
Okay.
That right there, by itself, as Bob said, is the biggest, most weighty factor on the table, and that's the whole reason, up until what we just now talked about, that there's a tax increase on the table. When I looked at how we were doing so far, this FY was 41,000 over on garbage collection. And the contract itself is not the problem.
Surcharge.
It's the fuel surcharge.
Just don't
If
go
those
up.
things run on diesel, and you know what diesel is.
5-something.
This here is, the number I stuck in here probably is conservative.
It is.
We don't know, because this is heavily contingent on global politics and economics that we have zero influence on here.
Yep.
This could easily be more. So, I mean, Bob, I didn't want to steal your thunder. I know you had some things to say there, but you and
That's it.
y'all weren't here. So I just thought while I was at it, I'd throw it out.
So,
And
yeah,
on top of that, while we're talking about all this, we just listed several things that we need to increase.
mhm.
The other side of this conversation in a few minutes is that the only way to fund any of this is with taxes, not water. Each penny on the real estate generates $11,000 of income. That's on your reference data sheet right there. So that's a balancing act that we've got to do. And if we can't get to some kind of point tonight, then we've got to figure out what we're going to do, because we've got to prepare something in time to advertise it.
So,
I think you're doing it right on it though. You got the garbage collection contract stands on its own. It's the contract. The surcharge, I mean, you couldn't prize their stone cold hands off of that. I'd never give it up under the circumstances we're in now with fuel. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat it. So they're gonna have that there, but at least you're accounting for it separately. So that way you can track it.
And so everybody could see it and try to realize that this is.
I mean, I think we track it separately.
oh, I agree. I think you did a great job with separating that. What I am a little bit concerned about is we have currently paid $93,875 this year. And just so everybody remembers, the Strait of Hormuz closed and gas prices went up in, I think, end of February, beginning of March. That's only a few months, and we're that much higher. So we have to make a guess, our gas price is gonna come back down in less amount of time than they've been high this year.
They could go back up very shortly.
Yeah.
The sad truth is here that what we're gonna pay for that fuel surcharge in the upcoming FY is heavily contingent on the future of the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
And again, that's a global stage.
And one thing about it too, the oil prices can drop all they want to. Locally, with the business, not only here, but locally, they're not gonna come down as quick as they go up.
What do they say, it goes up like something, it comes down like a funnel.
Exactly.
That's how it often does. And one thing, you know, that's a complicated thing there, it's beyond our scope, but I mean, it's just worth us all being aware of it. Even though the U.S. does not get a lot of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz,
100%.
oil is a global commodity. It's sold all over the world. So when it goes up somewhere else, it's going to go up. We don't live in a vacuum. If you mess with it one place, you're going to mess with it everywhere else. And we pay for it at the fuel hour every day. This problem is not going away anytime soon. I don't think. And I would love to be wrong about that.
I don't know about this problem, but I'm looking at 20 minutes to 9, so if we don't hurry up.
I would too.
So my whole point is, we have proposed 82,000, which is less than what we've already paid this year. I don't think we can make that assumption. I think it's going to be more than what we paid this year. This is what we just stated. So, I'm thinking we need to do 150,000. It's, just looking at what it is, that.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I'm not here to say happy things, I'm here to try to.
I like the reality of the situation.
Because-
I'm gonna let you tell the mayor that we're gonna have to go into the reserves.
No, there you go.
So-
We're not gonna do that, we're gonna plug it right in that budget like that. How many more pennies you say we're gonna need?
Well, you're gonna be talking about going from 13.5 to 20-some cents. You'll be talking about doubling real estate.
We started out at 22, what, 22, how many years
We
ago?
can't We can't do that much in 1 year.
Well,
That's just insane.
Look, before we figure out that number, let's just figure out what we think it's gonna cost. Because that's ultimately what drives what we put our numbers on. Because unless we wanna stop doing garbage collection this year, which I don't even know if we can, I don't think we even can with the contract with someone. I think we're on a multi-year agreement.
I think the people are gonna want to keep that service.
Yeah, I mean, they've.
Well, we heard that loud and clear. They told us they want to keep it.
Yeah.
But how much are we expecting it's going to cost us? That's the whole point of all these conversations. So,
I mean, they may even go up on the surcharge,
yes,
because they can do that every so often. So we could be looking at a increase on that.
and that's why I'm proposing that it's 150,000 and not 93,000, which is what we paid. And I know it's not anything anybody wants to hear.
I think it's a safe bet.
What-
I mean,
We need to zero in on how much for the fuel factor surcharge, because the contract is,
Yeah, the contract is gonna
the
be,
contract is fine.
they didn't go.
That's not the issue. It just has a tiny.
But that's what you're talking about, isn't it, Bob? 150 grand on the surcharge.
You're talking about.
I'm thinking that-
G149, they're going from 31.6 to over 100?
yes.
All right,
We've only been this since the end of February, right?
I
I
mean,
mean, if this
that's
continues a
that
few more
far.
months, that price will stay high, and that's a longer period in this fiscal year that it's gonna be high. And
Yeah, you could easily hit it.
I think that fuel surcharge could go to $100,000. I think it'd be double the contract. Now, these are all guesses, but, I mean, everything we
I
hear
think that's a pretty safe one.
is it's gonna be open, it's gonna be closed, it's gonna be open, but then we hear that it will take a long time to come back down. So that's why I would rather be pessimistic here and then be happier later on, because I don't wanna pick up the bag of $100,000 that we have to figure out where it comes from.
But the good news is, if you got it in there and you don't need it, you're a whole lot better off than you don't have it in there and all of a sudden you gotta get it.
well, we're gonna
That's why I
have
wanna do that.
we're gonna have that problem already this year. They're just not as big.
Shouldn't you consult with the garbage company?
Yeah, I was just thinking, you just asked.
I'm happy to
Not
talk
just
to them.
take these wild guesses.
Yeah.
How do they figure the fuel charge?
They have it in the contract.
Yeah, it's based on, some pricing index
Yeah.
that all these truck
Yeah,
lines and
that's
all
right.
use.
Yeah, the Southeast Price Index.
And
Yeah.
we would have access to that,
So we know what it
so we
is.
can check.
Yeah.
And people provide forecasting, and when I looked at it, the forecast is going up.
Yeah, it's
So-
going up that much?
It's not that it's going up a high percentage, it's that it's going to stay high for a while.
And you got it for a longer period of time than we've had
Let
for
me
a
go
short
up.
period of time.
$100,000.
It's technically only 60,000, but we're talking about, we've only been in this fiscal year in this situation since March. March, April, we're midway through May, so 2.5 months, and we've spent more than $30,000.
Yeah.
So if we go, what, 6
8
months,
Suppose we go 8 months.
Yeah.
9 months.
and then my number would be low.
Yeah.
So that's the only other reason I say that. I don't want to say that.
Well, that's the scariest thing on the budget, I think we got.
It is. It really is.
Well, it didn't take long to figure that out. As soon as I saw how far over budget we were on garbage collection, I'm gonna tell you, I just about had an out-of-body experience. And I don't have many of those.
So,
Yeah, there's another way to get funds to pay for the garbage collection. You have a fee for garbage collection.
yep, and that was something that most of the citizens did not want to have.
You know, they don't wanna pay them, but they wanna have double their real estate tax rate.
We have to pay for it somehow.
Hey, could we do, instead of calling a garbage fee, a garbage surcharge fee, that we only apply that fee to the surcharge, so if it moves up, it would be a few pennies higher, but if it comes down, it would be a sliding grid to our people to where, you know, they didn't pay a fixed cost all the time. It did follow that as well. So they got the benefit of a low fuel cost, and they got the sting of a high one.
You wanna have a sliding real estate tax rate?
I
Do that
think,
too?
You wanna go up and down during the year?
no, I think he's talking about doing it as a
I'm doing
separate
a
fee.
surcharge on the fuel.
And just,
Or we're gonna get charged that, but how, you're gonna collect it.
Well, it would be included in, yeah, because we'd have to have a billing service for that.
what you'd have to do there is you'd have to have another enterprise fund specifically for garbage collection. And you'd have to bill that fee with the water bill, concurrent time. period.
Yeah.
We talked about that a few years ago and almost did it. Now, if you're talking about paying for $100,000 service here, there's two ways to look at this. I just look back at your reference data. Each penny on the real estate tax is $11,135 of revenue if 100% paid. So now, go figure, 10 of those is about 110,000. And that's just for this line item. That's before we discuss any of the other things we've already discussed before we got to this. So now you're talking about going from 13.5 to a quarter plus. That's going to go over about like a lead balloon. So now it's either do it that way, or it is have a fee of some kind, a surcharge for the fuel factor. And if we're gonna have garbage collection service in the town of Herb, it's one of those two things is the only pathway forward that I see to pay for that. I mean, it's that or it's pay for it out of the reserves, and that's not a good idea. I mean, this is a hard place here, folks.
Oh, it is, no doubt about it, but let's take a real look at this thing. Suppose we discontinue the trash pickup. Some overachiever, entrepreneur in town is gonna figure out that he can take his pickup truck, and every Friday, he can ride around to a group of elderly people that don't want to drive over to Grip to take it, and he takes theirs over there, a truckload at the time, and charges them $1. I mean,
We
you
don't
might,
know that will happen.
you don't know that it will, but you don't know that it won't either.
That's an unknown,
Yeah,
big time.
I mean, we don't have to have it. But if we do have it, we need to have it properly budgeted.
yeah.
And that's what we need to decide right now, because we keep getting off on a tangent here. So I think first and foremost, do we want to have garbage service in the town? I think we need to decide.
Well, that's already been decided, the town wants it. Now the question is, will the town want to pay for it?
Do we want to pay for it?
If the numbers he's talking about, I bet if you give it to them again, they don't want to pay for that.
I do think there are some people that would be willing to pay for it, but I think,
The few that are willing to pay for it won't carry the cost of it.
yes, I agree. So we have to make a decision here. And we can reconvene if we want to another day. I still have 6 more slides.
That's what we're gonna have to do.
We don't have to
But I'll
continue
take-
this because we've been here close to 2 hours.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think you're gonna hear that the people want it, but they're not gonna wanna pay the rate, they're gonna have to pay for it. But I think you agree with that.
Yeah, they're gonna scream, cause
Yeah.
you're talking $100,000, and you saying 1 penny is only $11,000, so you're going up 10 cents just on the garbage.
I mean, we have to ask, is it worth it?
You were talking
It's
about,
probably not.
you're talking about almost doubling
And
people's real estate.
Theoretically, we could cancel it while fuel costs are high, and then we can bring it back when it's reasonable.
In a year when the county is going up.
They went up 6 cents.
This isn't,
This isn't 6
there's
cents.
nothing pleasant about any of this conversation.
Now,
Nothing.
this is a big line item. If we got rid of it, $80,000, how many cents is that?
How's it gonna save?
That's 8 cents.
Yeah.
So that's a
You may
big spot.
You may dump this and get all the other increases that you need, and this pays for it by dumping.
Yeah,
So you give away one item.
but we have to make that decision for the town. Are we gonna make people pay for it through real estate? Or are we gonna make them pay through personal property tax, meals, well, it can't be meals.
Or a garbage fee.
Or garbage fee. Or are we just not gonna pay for it this year, which is an option. I know some people that have money will pay for private folks to do it for them. Hopefully, there's camaraderie in the town where we can help each other out. You know, if someone's elderly and doesn't have money to pay for private pickup, hopefully they have neighbors that can help them. But it is something that's gonna go up. I mean, cannot sit here and say it's gonna go down. 18,000 last year, so just so everybody knows, 2025 was $18,000.
The thing is, you're not, if you put it out for quotes, you're not gonna get a lot that are gonna beat it because everybody's gonna do the surcharge because they can't afford to eat it.
Yeah,
Now,
So-
everybody's gonna have the same problem here, and we've got a good contractor, we've got a good contract, we've just got a bad situation,
okay,
thanks to global
yeah.
political and economic circumstances.
Do we wanna continue? Because we haven't even touched enterprise yet.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to.
This
Well, here's the deal. You've got to put the ad in the paper June 3rd and June 10th in order to get the final approval of your budget before June 30th.
but
So however many times you have to meet before you get to June 3rd, the day the paper's published, you have to give the ad to the paper on Monday, June the 1st.
I think you can
we
do that.
Yeah, John's right on that, we gotta have time.
So by the end of next week,
how are you looking for Thursday? We continue it to Thursday.
Thursdays don't work for me.
Remember, could you call in?
we'll get a babysitter for you.
John will do it.
There you go.
Wednesday would work better for me, honestly.
Well, okay, I mean, I'm ready to go tomorrow night, just continue to tomorrow night.
Yeah, Thursdays never work for me, because we have people coming into town.
How do you
Thursdays
guys
as well.
feel about continuing this until tomorrow night? Just come back in tomorrow.
It's fine with me.
I mean, it's good with me.
I'll have to do
You might want a little
Mike
more
can
time
get
to
you-
think about it.
it.
We can be on the 26th,
What's the 26th?
We may,
next Tuesday.
as messy as this has gotten, and as much as it's got to be gone through, we may have to continue twice.
That's what I'm
I do not know, but
Budgets always do this. We should not be surprised.
this is nothing unusual. Localities everywhere deal with this every year.
We haven't even got to mine.
And we haven't even got to the Hobbit version yet, that's true. We've got to have time, once we get all this deliberation done, to figure something out. Somebody's gotta go back in a spreadsheet and get that thing finalized, ready to advertise, and then write the summary. And I've got all of that stuff, you know, to do it with.
I mean,
It takes more than a few minutes.
worst case, could we do it, do it one night, if we have to do it on a Saturday afternoon, could we do that?
Right, I can't do this coming Saturday, because I have to work graduation.
I mean, I can meet in person tomorrow, and then Thursday through Monday, unfortunately, it won't work.
Yeah, but if we do tomorrow, then if we had to pick up anything, we could pick up the 26th again.
That works for me.
I mean, I'm suspecting we're gonna have to have two more of these.
I think so.
It won't
What's,
surprise me one bit.
Let's see, today is, what is it, like Tuesday?
The 19th.
There's a calendar right behind me, if you need it.
What about Friday night, is that out of the
The
question?
22nd, works for me.
I could do it if we had to. I'd rather do Wednesday.
Might have to do both.
I'm kind of, I mean, honestly, I feel
You better
bad.
take that Wednesday.
I feel bad for you, because I know you go to church,
I go,
but,
yeah, I do, and, but I'll,
Give me your proxy vote.
am I forgetting anything?
No, but what about Friday afternoon instead of Friday night? Don't you get out early?
Yeah, now, I can do earlier on Friday, because I can leave work at midday, but now, look, I'm just one person out of 7 who's gotta do this.
Well, I live down here anyway, so
You
it's
live
not gonna
here.
be a
But
problem.
that still leaves 5 other people to be considered.
Yeah,
I can't be here Wednesday, Thursday, I know that.
Wednesday, Thursday.
So you're saying Friday afternoon?
Now, Friday afternoon, anytime after lunch, yeah, 1 o'clock, 2
What
o'clock.
would that look like for you?
I would rather do it during the day,
Really?
Yeah,
Why don't we go for Friday afternoon?
Yeah, Friday afternoon.
That'll give us over, a little more than overnight to think about some things.
2 o'clock Friday afternoon?
I think I can do that.
2 o'clock Friday, the 22nd.
John, how's it look for you?
I think I can do that.
All right.
how about you, Shannon?
So,
Big man.
I'll make sure it's in you.
We wanna make sure we get this in you.
What is Friday, Steve?
Friday,
22nd.
three
So-
days from now.
Hey, Friday.
Yeah. I gotta work.
Okay.
So what do we need to do? We need to just ask the citizens, look, you want,
How bad you want trash pickup?
I mean, you want a 10% increase on your real estate taxes, or you gonna take your own trash out?
It's that, it's a tax.
Pretty much at
Or a
this point.
garbage fee.
So,
Pretty much at this point, that's the question.
I'm
How
putting
much
on
would
the
the garbage
Facebook
fee have
thing
to
tomorrow. Huh?
If you're trying to raise $100,000,
That's, so just so we know, that's just an estimate.
I think it'd be better if you talk to the people, the garbage collection people, and let them know that we're facing this dilemma, and ask them if that's a reasonable figure for us to use in order
you
to
still
raise our.
may, even at that, you still may have to pay the contract.
Yeah.
Because that contract's for another year. If we took it for 3 years,
Yeah, we're gonna have to pay the contract, and,
and that's what, 49,000?
yeah, something like that. And then the surcharge, but odds are, it's gonna be probably another 6 months, and then it'll probably go back down again to some degree. But
Gary,
between now and then, it may go back up, it may go up higher.
at 10 cent, what would that be, average household?
Oh my.
I mean, you got about 600 water bill, right?
Yeah,
that's 647
all right.
households into 100,000 works out to $12.87 a month
That's,
for your fee, if you did it.
all right, so basically you're looking at $39 a quarter. For a garbage,
Yeah.
100,000,
We'll
right?
say $4, $40
Just well say $40
$160 a year. Yeah,
Hey,
we ain't gonna get to take us on this.
$160 a year for trash?
Myself, I would pay that, but I'd have to really take it all off.
I would pay that as well.
But, that's,
All right, now,
that's just me.
you asked,
156.
you asked how much revenue the 10 cents on this tax would do? What is it?
110,000.
135.
Jeez.
Oh, that would generate 111,350 in revenue if you go up to 23.5.
One thing to also think about is if we do go away with trash collection, we would then have the likelihood that most people that do pay for pickup would come all at different days, different times than what we're used to. So you'd have more garbage trucks driving through the town than what you have right now.
It's gonna be, I mean, if you do away with it, it's gonna be chaos.
People may also use this as an excuse for letting trash build up at their facility, at their houses, because we ran into that at some points.
We should have said that in the yard, because
Yeah.
we've already seen that.
Yeah, you're gonna hear, you did away with the trash pickup, what do you expect me to do? I'm sitting at that in the yard.
Yep.
So, I mean, if it's only $160 a year, I think that might be worth it. But that's my opinion at this point. Let's think about it.
Well,
Let's
if
think
you
about
do-
it.
I mean, I'm
They
all
gonna
agree
say,
with you.
that's
But
one
I'm-
person, I mean.
You know, you're talking about probably splitting this thing pretty close down the middle. And you're gonna have some that's willing to do it, and then you're gonna have a whole lot that's not gonna be willing to do it. And then you're gonna have the complaints about the rate that it's going up, but I agree with you, I mean, they ain't go on.
Well, unfortunately, in this small town environment, there's gonna be a lot of malcontent about other things. as we've seen in the past. People start wanting to attack other line items instead of addressing the problem with the garbage collection cost. And we don't have anything else that we have any business cutting. Nothing that remotely adds up to enough to do any good with this problem. If you see what I'm saying. We don't have any other large line items that we can cut.
Yeah, you can't save it in the budget.
There's people that would say you need to cut payroll. There's people that would say you need to sell the plaza and spend the money.
Well, I'll give up my salary.
You got it now?
Mine too.
All right, one can just go on to infinity with all of these what ifs. But those things are Band-Aid solutions. They ultimately don't fix the problem.
I think you're gonna have a whole lot of people that like the trash being picked up. They're accustomed to it, they've had it for how many years now? They're gonna like it. Unfortunately, you're gonna have a certain percentage of people in the town that cannot afford to do it. They won't be able to legitimately afford to do it, and we all know that they're here.
There are some,
Yeah,
and they need to be considered.
And there's no formula for being able to reduce their burden with that, like there is with some other, like with water or something.
Well,
No,
if we
you
move
can't
forward,
cut the water bill.
and that would help them
We
with
now
this
have
increase,
the authority to do that.
but they have to apply.
Yeah, you've
It's a
got to have
process.
some kind of income, asset.
And there's a
And they have to
form
fill out a
you have to
form.
do it, yeah.
and to a lot of our people, that's gonna be a negative going out.
So,
Well, if you want the relief, you'll have to do the form.
You're gonna have to.
Yes.
And, you know, we could volunteer to help people fill out the forms.
Might need some volunteers to haul trash.
Now, this is, I'm searching for words right now, and they're not coming to me.
Yeah. Anybody have any words for this one?
There's really not any. Other places I've been in years past, I've been accused of being a walking thesaurus, but I'm not able to reach deep enough tonight to find it.
so,
I don't know when we've actually had an impasse that was quite this.
I haven't seen one since I've been down here.
I've been here since July of '08 for the most part, and I have not seen anything that was contentious things come and go for every town. That's normal, but there's something different about this.
And we're not disagreeing with each other. It's the concern for the,
The disagreement
Citizens of
here
the
is,
town, yeah.
I mean, it's over the issue.
Yes.
And I think we're all
Right.
on the same
we
page
are.
about feeling for the people and the
Yeah.
seriousness of the problem.
Yep.
But we're at a point now where there's a hard decision.
Yeah.
It's gotta be made inside of a month probably, about whether we're gonna continue to have town garbage collection or not. And if we're gonna have it, it's gonna have to be paid for outside of the normal budget.
And we have a contract.
do we have can we get a copy of that, or just review it?
The contract, like right now?
No, not right now, but before the next time we
Yeah,
meet,
yeah, that's not a problem.
that would be
It's
good.
a Friday afternoon.
So what time are we meeting Friday?
2.
All right, 2 o'clock here. All right.
This, we might should consider the garbage fee, because what if diesel fuel does drop? If diesel fuel does drop, then we can drop the fee.
Yeah.
But if you put it on taxes, people are gonna scream, and we all know that it's slower to come off at first, okay. Fuel
One
price-
thing about doing it with the garbage, you're isolating it to that single problem.
It's
That's
right,
it.
it'd be easier to understand.
Yeah.
And that's why most localities do that.
And that would, I mean, you're talking 10-cent increase just to pick up trash.
I can't see that.
No.
And there's gonna be some thought, well,
We're already
Well,
going to have to talk about another penny probably for the things we discussed before we got on the garbage.
And at least if you put it on the garbage and you give them a chance, you sign up for it, and the ones that don't want it don't have to sign up for it, well, then they're responsible for handling their own trash. And it's, now, we're gonna probably get dinged on the contract because it's not as many stops and all of that. But,
I'm gonna say, that's gonna be a problem like that, too. I would think, if I were first paid mile, I would be like,
yeah, I mean, they're gonna go up on the contract, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you gotta have them all, you gotta have everybody.
it's kind of, it's not the type of thing that you can have an optional service, like letting some people have town water and some people have wells. It doesn't work very well.
Nope.
I mean, the money's gotta come out right out of the taxes.
I tell
So
you-
when you do it all, you got it.
Sitting here thinking about it, if either, I am more inclined to ride with Steve on the garbage fee, because if the situation generating this gets better, it would be easy to either reduce it or eliminate it, depending on how much better it gets.
And it can better in 2 weeks. It all depends
Depends.
on what's going over there.
Well,
It will be
the
easier
estimation
to
is it's gonna
explain.
take months for,
It's,
even if it stops tomorrow, it's gonna take months for it to equilibrate.
We not, we won't, if it stops tomorrow, we won't see it 6 months
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
I mean, that's just how,
Well, here,
that people.
you gotta remember, we have people who don't pay their water bills. Okay? So we can put all the garbage fee on them they want to, and we can bill them for it. And we're gonna have some people just gonna, I ain't paying, now what you gonna do about it?
You just have to take a lien out on the property, is all you can do, but that still ain't bringing the money in to pay the bill. Then, when that fails, you might have to consider some reserves.
The first thing I'm gonna
You
hear,
can't get blood out of a
I know
turnip.
it's coming, well, you got all this new business you've been talking about. You're not gonna have the business now?
We gotta get there.
Well, it,
You're gonna
it's
get a bunch
gonna
of
be
stuff.
It's gonna take 3 years before that
Yeah.
does much for us.
That's what say,
Well, I can tell you one thing. We got this, what I call a real dilemma here.
Yes, we do.
You got
Well,
You
you
got-
have to get some input from the contractor about what they
Yeah,
have
I think that's a-
projected,
that's a must.
just to be able to say that you've done that.
We'll have input from you tomorrow, I can promise you that.
that's,
Pass it along right on Friday.
that would have to be done before we reconvene Friday. We gotta know what they can and will do for us.
we've got 2 days.
I'm gonna say one thing. I've been a lot in my lifetime. I've been involved in a whole lot of business, a whole lot of different things. But boy, I think I just had ones taking the cake on about everything I've been in. I mean, this is a real problem.
Yeah, it's a huge, it's such a huge,
This is a problem.
Well,
Okay,
it ain't exactly double, but it's getting close.
now we're gonna continue
And it's-
this.
it's happening
We're not
all
gonna-
across the country,
we're gonna
too.
continue.
I mean, it's not just us.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. Would you like to get some input from the public? Is this something I should put on a Facebook page and say that at the meeting last night, we're considering possibly a trash pickup fee? Because you guys know, when you drop that out there, you're gonna start getting some phone calls.
well, you're gonna have to explain everything about what it's cost that.
Yeah.
And you can't just say, how would you like a garbage fee? How do you get that answer?
That's gonna have to be meticulously written and well thought through.
Yeah,
And I don't know how,
and check with the garbage people first.
yeah, there's some homework to do
I'll call them
beforehand.
tomorrow.
But I do think you're gonna have to tell them at some point.
Yeah,
yeah, you gotta tell
So
us.
you might as well put it out there and start taking your blows.
Well, you gotta explain it, you won't take as many blows.
Well, if you put it in simple terms,
It might not be as many, but they'll probably be hard.
People can understand it if you.
due to the fuel cost. I mean,
Due to the fuel costs.
Everybody's.
that's the reason we having the conversation started with, is due to the fuel cost. It's not an increase in the contract. It's just an increase in diesel fuel prices.
And the diesel fuel is about $2 more than the regular gas on it.
It is getting worse.
Do we need to make a motion that we're going into recess?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
Do I hear a motion that we continue this meeting on Friday, the 22nd at 2 p.m.?
So moved.
Second.
Steve,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Alice,
Yes.
Bob,
yes.
Gary.
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming. John, Peter.
how was Dallas?
Probably have my telephone.
We'd be gone. I guarantee you a good song and probably be on.